2012, our first international backpacking trip, we did the W in the park. We were really inexperienced, we made a lot of mistakes, but that was a life-changing trip for us. It changed the way we started traveling. We looked for more backpacking and multi-day treks around the world. Now, we are back this year, and this time we're going to attempt to do the O circuit, which is going to take us about 9 days. There will be close to 18,000 feet of elevation gain and loss. And so we're hoping to put the knowledge that we've learned in this last 12 years to test us on this trek. Bus station in Puerto Natales, waiting for our bus. This is the 7 o'clock bus to Torres Del Paine. Ours is the 7:10, so we are really excited. It's almost happening. We've officially just entered the national park. Now we are transferring from the bus to a smaller shuttle that will take us to Camping Central and the Welcome Center. We're in Patagonia in Torres Del Paine National Park. We are about to start our 9-day trek on the O circuit. Today is an easy day. We have 8.5 miles to go with over 1,000 feet of elevation climb, and we're about to start. Let's go. So we're gonna be going counterclockwise on the O circuit. We are right here right now, and today we're going to Camp Serón. It's our first view of the Torres, and that's actually where we will be ending. Our first incline. What a beautiful view. We just got up to the top of our climb, and wow, this meadow full of daisies, they're just here waving at us and saying hi. What a way to welcome us onto the trail. We've come across a horse traffic jam. Pleasant, unexpected surprise. We're suddenly in a forest. And look at that tree over there. It's so pretty. That's the lake we passed on the way in. We're at the tip-top highest point for today. It's been a healthy amount of climbing, enough to ease us into the trek, but not too hard. We are at 1,280 feet, and from here on, we are just going to go back down to the valley and then walk along the river. Just right there, so pretty already. We have 3.5 miles left to go, but from here we have our first view of Camp Serón. The trail's been really well defined so far, and this morning we've been following these orange trail markers to lead us on the O track. just came down off of the mountains back there. It was a pretty steep climb, so I'm so glad it's over. And now it's nice and flat. Look at this tree tunnel. At first glance, this bridge looks pretty iffy, but then you notice two big sturdy logs underneath supporting it, so good job. After 5 hours of slow walking, we covered 9 miles and 1,100 feet of elevation gain. We have made it to Camp Serón. It was a beautiful day of hiking. Supposedly, this section of the O Circuit is supposed to be the most non-scenic and boring, but we found it the exact opposite. The terrain was beautiful, there were open spaces, and then we came into forested areas, and most of all, the best surprise for me is that since we are in South America and it is late spring here, the flowers are blooming. There were meadows full of flowers and it was just so beautiful. So overall, we had an excellent first day on the trek. When reservations first open in the spring, we try to book our own campsites, but we weren't able to book for every single day, so then we had to go with an outfitter, and we went with Flashpacker Connect, and they pretty much reserved all the campsites for us and our meals on this whole trek. So this is whenever there's elevated tents available, that's what we got. Morning, it's day 2 on the O Circuit, and today we have a longer day, a harder day. We have around 11.5 miles to go to Dixon Camp, and that's going to take us up 2,500 feet. Today I'm using Lyle's poles because somewhere between the transfers from the bus to the shuttle to the welcome center, I lost my poles and Lyle's tripod, so we had to buy new ones, but the new ones weren't so good, so now I'm using Lyle's, and hopefully they'll help us get up the very, very steep pass that's right at the beginning of the hike today. We're going up 700 feet and then dropping back down, and the rest of the day should not be as hard. So we are ready to go. Usually, knowing that there's a hard climb ahead of us, we'd be in shorts, but today we are all covered up because this area is notorious for mosquitoes. You can see them swarming back there. Even on the map, there's a giant mosquito in this area. So we figured we better be safe covering up. We just started the climb for the day, and most of the incline is going to be at this part. And what a beautiful area to be in. I don't mind climbing if I'm going along this beautiful river. We're on the major part of our climb. The rest of our group is a little ahead of us, and thank goodness the clouds are nice and thick because it looks like a pretty steep climb. I feel some sprinkles. So many of these round, cuddly looking plants up here, and you just want to give it a hug, but I caution you against it from experience. They are very prickly. We've climbed about 500 feet up, and the habitat up here looks totally different. We find lots of new vegetation and flowers all around. See this view? We're headed down and we're going to be along the river again. Along the river, so it should go a lot quicker. This view is just so amazing. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen this. Every time we dip down and then we come up out of the vegetation and I see it again, I'm like all inspired all over again. 5.4 miles in, outhouses. Look how gorgeous this is. Like a Halloween tree. It's got a ghostly, ghouly face. See? The two eyes, the nose, the mouth, and then drool coming down. It's kind of scary. are so close to Camp Dixon, but we have one final climb up and descent left to go. Luckily, the path is lined with these beautiful red flowers cheering us on, so I'm ready to do it. Such an encouraging view. There's camp right there. Wow, that was a really steep descent down. Whew. We finished day 2 on the O circuit. Day 2 was a long day for us. It was about 11.5 miles with 2,500 feet of elevation gain, but what a gorgeous day it was. The path was amazing, so much more than we had anticipated. The first part, we did a big climb up, and once we crested the pass, wow, the views opened up with just beautiful mountain ranges and gorgeous lakes, and the views were just amazing. The second part, the hills were just dotted with daisies just wavering in the wind, and then finally at the end we walked through flatter grassy areas and the forest, and we are finally here and we cannot wait for dinner. And this is home for the night. I'm so glad we don't have to set it up ourselves or to take it down tomorrow morning. I'm liking this. It's a beautiful day 3 on the O circuit. The sun is out. Oh, it's nice and warm. Today we have a relatively short day. We have 7.25 miles to cover and close to 2,000 feet of elevation gain. Most of the gain the hardest part will be at the beginning with a 700 feet climb, and then the rest of the time we'll be rolling ups and downs just like yesterday. The rain, however, last night when we retired into our tent, it started to come down and it rained throughout the night, and then this morning when we were ready to go out for breakfast, it stopped. So it has been in our favor, and we hope it stays that way. We hope the sun comes out partially off and on throughout the day, and the rain will stay away. But we're ready to go. We just started our first climb of the day. This is the steepest climb for the day. It's about 700 feet, and luckily the trails are dirt and packed and not with a whole bunch of loose rocks like yesterday's descent. So looks like it'll be a good climb. Love the festive red on these flowers. They make me so happy. Beyond Dixon Lake behind me is Dixon Glacier. It might be a little hard to see, but it's there, and it originates in Argentina. So we made it to the top of the climb, and it wasn't so bad at all. In fact, it was quite enjoyable. Lyle has a warped sense of size. He thinks I can fit underneath this with my pack on. I'm not that little. I'm gonna go around. Over here there's nice blue skies and white clouds and sunny, and then you just turn around just a little bit towards the direction we're heading into, and there are misty mountains and ominous looking clouds. This forest is so beautiful. When the sunlight filters in, everything starts glowing green and neon, and it's just really lovely. This fruit growing off the stem of a tree, like the branch of a tree, and we don't know what it is. This ridge has 2 missing planks. We've just kind of left the forest behind. This is our final climb. The glacier is so close, it's right there, so pretty. Look at this amazing view of Los Perros Glacier. We were on our way to the campground, and Lyle heard a big bang. We turn around and we see the avalanche falling. Here we are, right at the base of the glacier. But dinner is coming soon, so we gotta really get to camp fast. We made it to Los Perros. Here's our tent. beautiful trees. I would say today's walk can be summarized as a long, relaxing hike through scenic, beautiful, picturesque forest, ending up at a gorgeous viewpoint of the glacier. We walked a total of about 8 miles and climbed about 2,000 feet. Good morning. It's an early morning on day 4 of the O circuit. Today is a big day for us. We have 9 miles to go and 2,500 feet of elevation gain to be had. Today we get to go over the pass, down the pass, check in at the ranger station before 2 p.m. and then the rest of the route would take us to Gray Glacier. The climb up this morning has been all rocks and roots and mud and muck. This is our first patch of snow. We are lucky today because there hasn't been proper snow for a week. So this is one of the areas that we were most concerned with. If there were recent snow, we might have had to wear spikes or crampons, but today I think we're good with just our boots. We see our first glimpse of the John Gardner Pass behind us. That's where we're heading to, and there are some people on the snowy patch leading up to it right now. Starting the steep part of the climb up to the pass. Snack time with a view. Glacial water. Here's the test. So refreshing. We're putting on warmer layers because we're getting close to the pass and we know that it's going to be windy on the other side. Are up at the mountain pass. We're over the other side and we see this incredible view behind us. I cannot wrap my head around the fact that we're up here. We just climbed up a snowy mountain pass with beautiful views of glaciers and valleys and gorgeous all around, and yet we're only barely at 4,000 feet in elevation. We've got everything that's good about the Alpines and none of the altitude sickness that goes with it. But now we've got about 2 miles all downhill to the check-in point, and we only have about 3 hours left before 2 o'clock, so we gotta get moving. The wind is so strong we have to dig in and just breathe and hold sometimes. And these steps are pretty high for me. We're halfway down the mountain to the ranger station, and we're doing pretty good. Just come to the end of the long and slow and steep 2 miles of downhill. We've made it to the ranger station and checked in before 2 o'clock, and now we have a little under 4 miles left to get to Gray Camp. By the tree cemetery. Going to forget. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. We have about 2 miles left. The views have been unbelievable. Just so gorgeous, but the winds have been so fierce. Sometimes we have to like dig in, stop for like 20 seconds before we can even move again. So we've come upon our second suspension bridge. The path from the first one to the second one, I knew there was going to be a lot of ups and downs, but I thought it was going to be more rolling. I totally underestimated it. Every time we went up, it was very steep and long, and every time we went down, same thing, very steep and hard on the knees. So, but here we are at the second suspension bridge, and we are getting close to camp. All right, my turn. Here's our third and final suspension bridge, the John Gardner Bridge. This sort of reminds me of Half Dome. Steep ladder. So close. I am so relieved to see this sign. After 12 hours on our feet, we have finished day 4 of our O Trek. It was over 10 miles, or 10 and a half miles, with 2,500 feet of vertical gain and loss, which were really steep both ways. It was quite a strenuous hike, I would say. Gray Glacier from the top down is just so worth it. That view alone and walking along the mountain looking down at Gray Glacier the whole time, that is definitely worth doing the O-Trek. It's day 5 on the O circuit today, and after yesterday's long, difficult hike, we decided to give ourselves a day of rest. So we have decided that we are staying at Gray Glacier for 2 nights, and while we're here, we're going to be exploring the area and doing a couple of activities. A short and easy 10-minute walk from the campground will take you out to this area, the lookout point to Gray Glacier. You can choose to go high and get an aerial view of the glacier, or you can take the lower path and get closer to the lagoon. And this is the view of the glacier from the higher point. At the lower viewpoint, we get a good look at the ice chunks that have gathered at the back of the lagoon. This morning we had a kayak tour going out to see the east-facing glacier, but because of wind conditions, and you can see there's white caps on the waves right here, that means we can't go. So the kayaking tour was canceled, but plan B is to take the ferry. So we're waiting for the ferry, and hopefully the ferry will be able to take us to the bigger central-facing glacier. That's going to be cool.
Welcome here to Gardner. It's really nice. We have here a wall of 13 meters high. This glacier is receding like 100 meters per year.
The conditions are good enough so we get to do a landing and we get to go up and get a little bit closer.
This is like a really dense ice. So there is no air inside this ice. And when we are looking like an iceberg, like really white, it's because they are already like broke down. They get in contact with the water and also get in contact with the air. So a lot of bubble of air get inside the iceberg and start getting like white. And when we have like this blue iceberg, is because it's still really dense and the air is still not getting inside the iceberg.
With the kayak, we wouldn't have been able to get so close to the glacier due to safety reasons. But with the ferry, we're able to land and climb up to this point. We're really close to the glacier, and then we just had a very informative lesson from the guide. This is the furthest up we can go, and the captain is asking for us to get back so we can move on to another spot. So we just finished our ferry tour to the glacier, and we loved it so much that we suggested that they should offer this as one of their tour options, because right now there's only two options: the kayaking to the glacier or the glacier walk. And I'm pretty sure if they offered this as a third option, more people will do it, because it was fantastic. We didn't have to work much. We got really close to the glacier. We were able to hear all the really good informative knowledge that was imparted on us from the tour guide, and it was overall a very fun and very memorable tour. Tomorrow we start the W, and a friend of ours, Javi, have joined our group, so now that makes a group of 6. But before we start this new leg, we want to talk a little bit about the backside of the O circuit. When we started the hike, we really didn't have too much information about it and didn't have that much of an expectation as to what was going to happen on the trek. It's been a very enjoyable trip. We love the fact that we're going one direction the whole time, the last 4 days, and we kind of stay with the same group. So as we get to camp, you see familiar faces, and you talk to people, you get to know each other a little bit more. So that's kind of always fun and interesting to hear other people's perspective. Another thing we like about the backside of the O is that the terrain changes so much and the views are so different each day. So for just